I'm back again. Sorry, I had to, due to some information I'd rather not share, I had to stop the other video and delete it completely. Now, I even feel like I gotta talk about a different subject. Last time, I was, really giving a lot of info on Resident Evil 6 and Resident Evil Retribution, the current movie that's going to come out. I wonder if it's going to be like every September, kind of like a Bond thing, like every November. I know they skipped last November, but they're coming out with Skyfall. I think they should personally comfort the fans and at least give them an inclination as to what Skyfall is. Apparently, it's some kind of building with this huge, grandiose elevator that goes all the way up, and in the trailer, you see Bond falling from a huge distance, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to grasp on to anything. So what are we really here for? This guy, Michael Fassbender. This thing's mirrored because I set the camera up this way. Excuse me. All the coughs and the hiccups and all the, things. Just like that are because I skipped my last allergy shot, so... Alright. So, I primarily picked up that issue of Esquire to hear what he had to say about Prometheus. Not much compared to the last Total Film issue I got, which, that was their cover feature, so they had an entire huge section on it. A couple things I want to get across. If anyone who views this has a genuine leak of Linkin Park's fifth album, Living Things... Wait, I'm a Linkin Park fan. Why do I gotta think if it's the fifth or not? Hyper Theory, Meteora, Minutes to Midnight, 1,000... Okay, yeah, it is the fifth. Has a genuine leak with the tracks in the order, the, track times correct, and most of all, just the correct track. All I've heard of the album is a little bit of Tinfoil, a little bit of Powerless, all of Burn It Down, and all of Lies, Greed, Misery. Let's see. My best bet is that since, this Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or whatnot, has Lies, Greed, Misery in it, and now it's announced that Castle of Glass will be in it, then I'm at least hoping that leaks. But if someone has, genuine leaks where, the tracks are in order, the tracks have the right, time, like the right length of the track, and most importantly, fucking wrist. Threw this shit out or something. Fucking A. Best I'll do. Then shoot me a PM, or I'm so used to PMs because of fucking chat rooms. Personal message. I am Instant Messenger. TOGTFO. Tits or get the fuck out. Whatever. If anyone has the real deal, then send it to me. I am so eager to hear this. Just to see how it, all goes by, all connects as an album from track 1 to 12. I mean, I know that during various Linkin Park TVs, thank God it's not in black and white anymore, or doing, weird glitchy things. They just have, the image split on two sides. I mean, on one side. The left side is the video, and then they cut to the big video. And the right is, Linkin Park TV, LP 12, whatever, photo shoot, Buried at Sea, or whatnot. I think this year they're going to put more emphasis on LP TV, and just like the Minutes to Midnight cycle where they did the last few, no, with Minutes to Midnight, the last, this second, the one before, like a mini intro to the documentary, they did, what'd they do? Oh, the whole Salton Sea photo shoot thing. And Rob going, he's like, I want to buy an album. Well, what do you want? Ours. I can't believe the woman said, who are you again? Whatever. So, if you have the real deal the real deal leaked schmeal of Living Things, send it to me. I am so fucking eager. And I also have a running bet with my friends who like Linkin Park to see who can get it first. But the exception is it can't be an official quality one off of like Amazon or especially iTunes. And again, another thing is the cover art. I'm going to know from the cover art. It can't be a .archive file with a clear-cut fact. When I look at it in these .rar files, I looked at the tracks on 6 of the torrents I downloaded. Empty files. And then they have the balls to ask you for a password to unlock something that's really not there in the first place. God, this thing gets so dirty. But back to Fassbender. I've heard some interesting new rumors about Prometheus that, David tries to either reason or talk to one of the space jockeys and gets his head sliced off. Then Shaw, grabs the head and gets back to the ship. And then somebody I know somebody edited it and said, then her and Holloway have sex. There's no way that would be official. Because they said she's, quote, sterile, whatever. Which means you actually can't get pregnant. Now, it could have worked the reverse way. And not let, I don't want to get, fucking sexual health on you guys and gals. But, are you serious? I didn't fucking take this little piece of crap dust off? I wipe it off. Alright. I had a dream the other night, and it was completely about Prometheus, and everything was as accurate as it is in the trailers and all the interviews. I was a member of the ship, and I was a biologist, so, what do? Take samples of biological things. I had a gun, 2 guns actually, and they were named Ebony and Ivory. But they're like a very futuristic, non-laser based version of Dante's guns. They had like auto-loading clips, so you don't have to, take it out, put it in, cock it, and then shoot it. It automatically did that. So I remember shooting a space jockey to death, only to later having a chest burster come out in the biology area, the medical hub, whatever you want to call it. And it grew. I feel like I'm going to describe this like, God, what the fuck is it? But, I kept getting curious about this sample. This little small alien thing. Like, what the fuck is this? I mean, this is way before Alien. And I was just like, I felt kind of cheated in a way. Like, this is really the dominant, I don't know. I just thought it was a worthless creature. So when I tried to kill it, I put it strapped down on a gurney, with those doors closing, and I tried to kill it. I mean, I put, like, all the kind of things that would kill a human, like ammonia, stuff, didn't do anything. At one point, it fainted, but I could see it growing into your atypical alien from Alien. And then I could see it was small, like, I would say probably like an 8-year-old child, average 8-year-old child, human child. And it had a tail now. And of course it has the razor edge, so it was using the tail like a scorpion to try to break its way out. It was safety glass, but that doesn't mean that I was safe. So, when the glass fully shattered, I grabbed Ebony and Ivory. There was no perfect harmony. I died. I was resurrected, but it was like thousands of years later or whatnot. And I found myself in some kind of stasis, cryogenic stasis, and I awoke. It was like those milky white things they have for Cylons, and they can be reborn or whatnot. And I noticed that I was better. I was more agile, I was stronger, I was faster, more intuitive. And one of the space jockeys named, what the fuck was his name? It was a he. I think it was something like Xanthroth. Oh, Xeniothoth. Now, that's Thoth, or Thoth, whatever, is an Egyptian god. Xenio was derived from xenomorph, which basically means moving shadow, something akin to that. And but the name xenomorph was put that way so that, you can really make your own definition. And I wasn't entirely human. I was pretty much humanoid. Like, I was so fascinated with this new body I was in that supposedly quickly evolved from mine. I can make my thoughts reality. I remember sharpening up my hand, and they were all razors. Think Lady Deathstrike in X2. And they put me through a lot of tests where I had to face against aliens from different planets. And the last one, was a predator. So considering, I mean, yes, the predators. No, predators are born killers, born and bred to be hunter-killers. I did have a bit of trouble. I remember, going all Iceman on them. I froze my left arm, shot a beam, which would be the equivalent of Ice Beam in Pokemon. But I made the ice too thick and too hard and too dense. So when it came time for me, seconds later, to ignite my arm on fire and try to, freeze them, then burn them alive, didn't work. The armor was the hardest thing. I knew that if I could get the armor off, which is basically even, durable to, not durable, can withstand the aliens, acid. They got acid instead of blood going through their veins. Whatever. I remember we teamed up. Like, we couldn't beat each other. So we gave up, and we went to the space jockeys. There's some kind of council room, and we, pleaded for freedom. That didn't work. And the council came to a unanimous decision that we need to go back to where we came from as long as we propagate our species. And actually, behind the scenes of, Alien, they say that all the aliens want to do is just destroy shit and propagate the species. So, I guess the alien equivalent, exchanging numbers, the Predator pulled out some kind of digipad. Think an iPad, but way more advanced. Holographic projections and, I gave some information of how to contact me, how to get to me, and, just like the ending of Alien vs. Predator, that Predator made scars on my face, and I'm an honorary member of that tribe. For some reason, it was called the Lin Kuei, and that's Mortal Kombat. And I learned that Asian culture spawned from Predator culture. The hugest difference is they're just way more brutal and violent. But it's always stylish violence. And I remember there was a point where I grabbed the Predator by his throat and, said, if you mislead me, you've misled yourself. You've led yourself to death. It's just been prolonged. And I said, know that I will come up with more advanced weaponry. The longer you wait, the more suffering you'll be put through. If you deem me an ally, I promise to be an asset and nothing more. And I went on about, that I want to learn their culture, this kind of tribalistic thing they've got going on. And he said, it was a he, there were female predators, it's been done. And he said, don't worry, this will only hurt a lot. And that's when he took out the blades, the double blades, and scarred my face here, all the way up to here, like the Anakin scar from Star Wars. Out like this, with 2 dots here, and dots leading up to a big dot of red. And the last thing was that I mentioned, does this have anything to do with spirituality and third eyes? And, you know, blah, blah, blah. They take the best of, you know, all societies. There's a woman on your planet I think you should contact. And it was, you know, the great-great-great-granddaughter of that person from Alien vs. Predator. And so I went to her door and said everything that happened to me. And, you know, there were predator weapons, there were, you know, skulls, xenomorph skulls adorning, you know, the walk-in area of the place. It was almost like a chateau, like, they were rich, so, I guess. And she was covering her face with bandages on the side, and I'm like, what happened? And she said, more like what somebody did to me. Takes them off, same tribal marking, only with a 5. And we talked, and she's the 5th generation human predator liaison. So that's what happened. And I told her, you know, that things are different now. They want us to be active members of the tribe, possibly living with them, making human colonies and settlements where they live. Because that's one thing they really don't say with either the aliens or the predators, like a definitive planet where they come from. All I can say about the aliens is that they started out on Zeta 2 Reticuli. I still say I, because of my, you know, American English. And normally, I'll be honest, I don't have dreams with that kind of detail. Like, if I really had, like, maybe modeling clay or, you know, kind of a digital tablet, that goes back to what the digital tablet was. It seemed like something a Predator wouldn't have, or the style of it is not very Predator-esque, where it's, like, very rough around the edges, but it's still very advanced. And she pulled out, you know, the one that she got, and she said, this should look familiar to you. I've been having problems contacting, there were like 3 Predator chiefs. I can't do their names because it involves having that, you know, split mouth here and here, and that, you know, that inner mouth clicking. And suddenly we were speaking in Predator language, so you know, we were the human predators. I guess that's the best way to sum it up. And we were like superhero vigilantes with a technology that is both primitive and tribalistic as far as aesthetics go, but not only does it get the job done, at its core, it's very advanced, and the year was 2157, and still, basic human society couldn't figure it out. They just couldn't. All they could figure out is how it works. There are certain features that were so completely alien to our human race that I can't really begin to describe. Like, replicant technology. Think Cylons from the revamped Battlestar Galactica. So that if our bodies fail us, we can go into a newer, better body, and, you know, your consciousness is there, and of course you have the option to download your memories. So it was like a cross between Prometheus, you know, like regular futurism, Predator, and then just, and then, yeah, the Cylons. I don't know why, when I think of either Cylons or, that's her name from not Resident Evil, Alien Resurrection. Winona Ryder, yeah. She was an android. I think somewhere during the film she pulled out some, like, white tab. I don't know what it is with androids and white, milky, viscous liquid. In Battlestar Galactica, when they transfer their consciousness, for any reason, it's always this, you know, birthing pool with white, viscous liquid, which looks like milk mixed with oil and water. It's real weird. Last thing I remember, I was contacted by the one Predator who gave me the tribal markings. And he just blatantly said, we need to speak to your president's covert ops division. We want to give the technology like a boost. And I remember another thing is that multiple alien species were integrated into our society. There were Greys, there were Reptilians, there were Nordics, which are just like carbon clones of He-Man, but whatever. Just all sorts of different technologies from different worlds, universes, galaxies. And they've all met with the government. Everything's cool, you know, weapons and knowledge and all that. But there was one, they call the one, you know, incident with Danny Glover's character, whatever his name is, in The Predators, an isolated incident. And that it's null. It's not important. Let's just not talk about this. I mean, and it was me, that girl, at the end, and the Predator, with his weapons, all of our weapons drawn. And the president had his chair turned to look out the window. Washington, D.C. was a very different place. There were huge sky rises and multiple airwaves and such. And we didn't need to go through any kind of security. I mean, we just teleported there thanks to the Predator. And, of course, you know, the Secret Service got, Mr. President, there's a few people to see you. And he knew the girl. I don't know the link between the girl and the president. But I remember the last line the president said. He's like, he pointed straight at the Predator. He's like, do we really have to fucking deal with them? It happened ages ago, but we had nothing but violent warfare. Now, with all the stuff that happened to me, I'd only be strictly paying attention to the events. I mean, I was in space for a number of years. So that when I got back to Earth, everything was really different. All those species were integrated into our society. Practically everyone was a meta-human. Half human, half robotic, all robotic, Cylon style, humanoid Cylon style. They were hybrid, human and robotic, human robots. I mean, the world really did change since I was last on Earth. And I actually had to ask the girl for a lot of help, you know, how to navigate things, even basic things. Things that people in that day would have no problem doing, but I would be like, what the fuck is this? You know, kind of thing. But I know I strayed from where I was, but that was my dream. And I feel really let down if when I go to see Prometheus in the theaters, that all the timelines aren't kind of there. Like, predators wouldn't exist in the Prometheus world, or aliens. I mean, if one of the things Ridley Scott said on the HBO special is, you know, I really want to scare the living shit out of you, or something to the extent, then why not the traditional alien? I'm pretty fucking sure we're going to be surprised. I mean, I've heard things about proto-aliens, star beasts being in that film. So, you know, initially it was an Alien prequel. And if they would have continued that way, it would be way more reminiscent of Alien 1 to Resurrection. Alien 1 to Resurrection. But they kind of wrote around it. So, the problem is, it's got way, way too many things saying, yeah, this is a prequel. I guess, tight-lipped till the end. I mean, the movie may not be out, but the book's out. I hate how they do that. It's always something is out before the movie, and they don't give you all the spoilers. They give you a good amount, but, you know, and the final thought I'll say is that would mean a damn good graphic novel. If H.G. Geiger could draw, you know, a graphic novel of Prometheus, the pen and ink, you know, drawings would be just as stunning as all the digital stuff in the movie. I think, you know, if you're a fan of comics and graphic novels, and a huge geek about it like me, then that's one part of the movie that would be great. Or side stories, or, you know, because I do know the entire story. Unfortunately, at this point, until I see the film, I don't know what's right and what's wrong. But a couple things really do entice me. Final thought. One of the spoilers, whether it's fake or real, say that Wayland Ted stowed aboard the craft or intentionally boarded the craft to talk to the space jockeys about his old age. I'm assuming he's taking like some kind of weird DNA serums so that he could be like 90 years old but look probably like he's in his mid-40s. Look and appear vocally and such. And he wants it, you know, he wants the exploration for all the wrong reasons. For him, it's strictly to be immortal. my final thought, second final thought, is that maybe the writing of this film and everything is to imply there's no real God, there's no real afterlife, but there are beings and civilizations with the power of God. Maybe imbued by sacred mystic, shaman, or something like that. I gotta go. I got a headache. I want to lay down. So, peace. And if you got living things, give me a link.